All right, this is the first time I've ever tried to do something like this, and I literally have not written a PowerPoint presentation in like a decade. So go easy on me. I'm gonna do my best here. So on crafting community, how to make your house a home on twitch.gov. So the first part is I was thinking about your community kind of being a house, essentially. You are creating space. When you are making a community, you are envisioning and you are creating a space for other people to exist in, to thrive in, to grow in. For these three sections, I'm thinking about it kind of like a house, right? So we're building the foundation of this house. Step one. So, Kami, thanks for the host. So, step one, the foundation. And what I have here is the communities that we cultivate will ultimately be reflections of ourselves and of our values. I thought to myself, what do I resonate with? What makes me, the person, want to participate in someone else's community or in community at large, right? So when we're keeping this focused in streaming. So when I am entering a new space, when I am entering a new stream, some of the things that I notice about the streamer, I like when the streamer is welcoming. I like when the streamer pays attention to chat. Love when the streamer can crack a joke. That's just me. I like when the streamer seems comfortable, and I know that that's like a kind of a tough thing to quantify, but like it's just, for me, like there are people that are, I don't know, you can kind of tell where their heart's at, I guess. That's a very difficult thing, again, to quantify, but just that they seem comfortable with what they're doing. Is the streamer playing or doing something that I consider to be interesting? That also helps. Can they riff off of the things that people send in chat? Do they express interest in the things that I'm saying, in me as a person, whatever? And then also a big one for me in particular is the way that they respond to serious topics. That's a huge thing for me personally. And it doesn't have to be, none of these things have to be important for you. Things about their community, right? So we're still putting ourselves in the role of we're entering somebody else's community. We're entering somebody's stream. So things that resonate with me are when the chat welcomes people personally, when the chat is funny, when people in the chat are genuinely funny, I'm automatically like, oh, okay, let's go. 'Cause it's less common than you think. Again, genuinely vibing, like, is the chat participating in what's going on? You know, there are people that have like hundreds of viewers and like 10 people chatting. And again, not enough to make a judgment on, but like, how active is the community? What are they doing? What are they saying? Another thing that's important for me is their response to trolling or inappropriate comments. And this is, we'll get into this later, but this is an extension of a community's values, right? When you're in a space and you see something that makes you kind of raise your eyebrows and you don't see anybody respond to it, that is a red flag for me. So the way that a chat participates in strange moments, in harmful moments, in those like little in-betweens, that's really important to me. The way that their mods behave is extremely important, and we'll get into that as well. But literally, like, when I'm in a new stream, I legitimately am looking and listening at their mods to make a decision for myself on whether or not I actually want to stick around. Because when I see that people have, you know, modding is a responsibility, and when I see people's mods like acting in a way that makes me feel strange, then like that's an immediate out for me. Because if their mods are making me feel weird, then like their chat's gonna suck. Then they're probably gonna suck for me, you know? Kami says, Great point. When the community feels comfortable asking people for clarification on something sharp or letting people know that stuff is inappropriate, that means the streamer protects the community and empowers people. Exactly. Yes. Right. What kind of precedent are they setting? Because ultimately, if you're going to invest your time and your energy into a space, like, you need to know that you're going to be safe. You want to feel like you're all right, you know? Again, chat's response to serious topics, same concept, right? Saying goodbye to people leaving is a nice little thing that I like. When people are like, hey, I've got to go, see you later. And the chat actually says goodbye. I think that's like very charming. We kind of touched on that on community night. And then also just finally, I have making efforts to include new chatters. That's another big one for me. Is just like, you know, is your community just trying to get people involved? Because it's really not that hard, right? What's up, Rip? Yes, we have a question. With a hand raise emoji, I can't even say no. Okay, so Rip is asking, what do you look for in response to trolling or inappropriate comments? What I look for is that they get dealt with. That's it. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but have you ever been in a stream where you can tell that the streamer hasn't set their boundaries and it's too late? Have you ever seen that? Because I've seen it. I've seen it before when I've seen like people saying something shitty that the streamer, like, maybe it's a mod, maybe it's like obviously a longtime viewer or like a big contributor to the stream, but like something will happen that like you can kind of tell that they feel stuck. And so all I'm looking for when trolling or inappropriate comments go off is action. I'm looking for action. And it doesn't even need to be a ban. It does not even need to be a ban, right? Like, depending on the person's like level of involvement in the stream, their history, you know, their relationship or whatever. Like, I'm not saying, you know, every single thing needs a ban, but like there needs to be action, right? All right, so we talked about foundation, right? So this is this is the support network. I don't know, the support beams. I've never built a house. Do we have any house builders in here? So this is bringing this is building out your support. The framework. All right. The people who we choose to align with are also reflections of ourselves, of our values, and of our communities. And there's a sweet picture of Sonic and Friends there for you too. So who do we align with in this process, right? Who supports our streams? Who are the people that we will be communicating with and in community with, right? I have viewers, mods, and other streamers. Those are the primary people that you're going to be interacting with in your streaming journey. What's going on, Contravixen? Good to see you. Hey, Ancom, good to see you. So, all right. How do our viewers reflect our values? Or how can our viewers reflect our values, right? And this is tying back to what Rip was asking. So my first point is enforce your own values early and often. Tying back to the situation that I asked before, the streamer that didn't feel comfortable drawing boundaries because it's too late. A way that you can deal with this is being consistent and being outspoken about your values right away, right? You do not want missing stairs in your community. Do you know what missing stairs are? Missing stairs are problematic people in your community that are present in a community, but people have to kind of just quietly say to each other, hey, this person is a little bit weird you know, as long as you don't mention this, or as long as you don't do this, or as long as you don't do that, then you won't set them off, right? That's a missing stare. People that require like special treatment in order to not be problematic, you want to avoid having those people in your community, right? Yeah, and we say missing stare because it's like you're saying, oh, watch your step, you know, watch your step, otherwise you'll fall through, right? So missing stares are people that you need to say, watch your step. This person can be a little bit weird or whatever. So the way to avoid that is to enforce your values early and often. The next point, do not let problematic behavior slide. And there's a tweet thread. So it says, I've now looked at, shut up. I've now looked at dozens of studies that show that the best way to stop bigotry and hate crimes is to not be permissive towards bigotry. Prejudiced people are far less likely to act on their prejudices in environments that are hostile to their prejudice. Right? This is the tweet that got me started on, that really got me started on actually putting this presentation together. So how do you prevent people from being problematic in your chat? You make it clear that people cannot be problematic in your chat. That is it. Do not let problematic behavior slide in your channel. And this ties into enforce your own values early and often, right? If you want to avoid having these situations come up again, you build your community from the ground up to be able to respond to this stuff as it happens, right? Being welcoming to bigots will escalate bigotry. Telling bigots to fuck off and having social consequences is what has been proven to stop prejudiced people from acting on their hatred. The aim is to build a counter-hegemony, a popular movement that is unwelcoming to bigots. So that's really it, right? You make people feel like they can't be racist in your chat because they can't, right? You make people second guess their impulses to troll you, their impulses to say something stupid. Like, you make it clear with your community that that's not cool. Conversely, you want to call out chat behavior that makes you feel good, right? So when people are acting in ways that you like, you mention it so that you can reinforce that behavior and encourage it to happen more often. Just the other night on community night, I just noticed that people were saying goodnight to people that were leaving, and I thought that was really sweet. And so I mentioned it to my chat. And do you know what happened? People started doing it more. Because if people know what resonates with you, if people know what makes you feel good, then they want to do it more, because people want to be nice. Like, people want to create a cult. People want to create an environment that they're more comfortable in, you know? And if you let people know what makes you feel good, they will want to do it. Another point is recognizing the effort that people make to come hang out in your stream. This one's big because, listen, streaming is an extremely saturated environment, okay? There are so many of us that are trying to fucking stream. It is literally jumping into an ocean and trying to swim, right? There are so many people to watch. You are not the only person on Twitch. The fact that there are so many of you here in this channel right now is massive to me. And honestly, just makes me feel like it's good that people want resources like this. The next point that I have is make a big deal about return visitors. And those 2 points, the recognizing the effort that people make to come hang out on your stream, plus the making a big deal about return visitors, those things are kind of hand in hand. Because again, there are a fucking zillion of us on Twitch. There are so many people streaming. When somebody comes back to your stream, that is a big fucking deal. because there are probably a dozen other people on their following list that they could be watching at one time, right? So recognizing when people make the effort to come back is something to celebrate, and you should do that a lot, right? Make an effort to get to know your viewers better. That is something, when you make people feel seen, whether it's using their pronouns correctly, whether it's asking about something that they mentioned, like the last time that you streamed, like following up with them in some way, being human with your viewers. And that's kind of where we start to dig a little bit deeper into this relationship of, what is the relationship between streamers and the community? Because that is part of this experience that you don't get on YouTube and things like that. It's very direct. It's very growing. It's very changing. And so when you make an effort to actually kind of, give a shit about the people that are in your community, it's going to be good. People want to hang out in spaces where they feel like they matter. And so when you make people feel like they matter, because they do, then it will help you in the long run. It'll get you people coming back. Being supportive of your community's endeavors ties in with the last point, making an effort to get to know your viewers better. A community is all sides, right? A community is all sides. If you want to have a community where, the expectation is that everyone just gives a fuck about you and you don't give a fuck about anybody else, there are limited case studies where that works, but it's not sustainable. Not for people that are getting up off the ground. And so when I say being supportive of your community's endeavors, in our Discord and stuff, I want people to fucking tell us what's going on. If you've got some sort of event that I can show up for, I want to be there. Or at the very least, I want to know that I want everybody to know, right? If there is something that's important to you that you want support on, I hope people feel comfortable letting us know, because that's what it's about. I want to give a shit about the other people that are in this community. Because what else is it for? This is not just for me. This is about all of us, and communities are so much bigger than the person that's just behind the screen right now, Fuck you, JJ. And then my last point on this is you will make mistakes, and so will your community. I know that I am probably going to say something that raises an eyebrow over the course of however fucking long I do this, right? And I know that the community is also going to have moments where I raise my eyebrows or other people raise their eyebrows. And if we can remember that everybody makes mistakes, that is going to help dictate our response when they happen. Because I do not believe if a person that has been part of this community for a long time makes a mistake, I don't treat that the same way that I would treat a fucking nobody that just comes in here and raises eyebrows. It's different. When people show that they're invested in something, then in my mind, they have more room to learn, and it's easier to communicate. You have more goodwill. You have more space to actually explore mistakes, right? What suggestions do you have for a streamer if your values change, and how enforcement of them should be done? That's an interesting question, because I feel like in order for it to matter, your values would have to change pretty radically. And I guess, yeah, I'm trying to think about what shifts would happen where it would be a huge deal. I think that, it starts with obviously what you're feeling, what you've had a change of heart about, but ultimately it's your space. It's your space, right? And if you're being as authentically you as possible and you're cultivating a community that's open-minded, all that it takes in my mind is having a talk with your community about it. And the people that can't hold that shit are going to leave. And that's fine. Because ultimately, you do not want to be a hostage on your own stream. And if you're living in a way that's no longer congruent with your values, you will be a hostage on your own stream. And you will have people that are in your inner circle that you no longer agree with, that you no longer support, and they're just going to be there. They're going to be harming you. They're going to be making you feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel fucking weird about it, and it's going to get bad. So all I would say in a situation like that is be honest with your community, because ideally you've been honest about everything else. And so it's not going to come as a surprise to the people that are there for you, you know? And the people that don't stay, fuck them. I think I have something about this. Oops. Oh, it's right there. Being consistent in your values will cost you viewers. Let that sink in. It's knocking. Okay? Being consistent in your values will cost you viewers. And I think that is something that a lot of streamers struggle with in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you don't want to push away. Like maybe you have 2 viewers and one of them you realize is going to be a problem for you down the line. A lot of people don't want to push those viewers away because that's 50% of your audience. But it is going to pay off so many times over if you are consistent in your values and you are true to yourself. It is going to pay off 1,000 times over. Because again, you do not want to be putting your time and energy into people that make you feel bad. That's it. That is it. Inside of stream and outside of stream, right? We talked about missing stairs. You do not want a missing stair in your community, period. That's it. And like, again, it's going to cost you. And the smaller you are, it's going to hurt more. But my policy coming back, listen, the first time that I gave streaming a try, like 5-6 years ago at this point, I had missing stairs in my community, dude. And I was a much different person. I was much less confident about myself. I had much less viewership. I was happy to have anybody. And I had missing stairs in my community. People that made other people feel uncomfortable, including myself. And my second go around to streaming, what's up, Hoots? My second go around to streaming, I just decided, no, like, no more. If you fuck around, you're going to find out. And that's it. And I lost viewers, dude. Coming back around, I lost viewers. You bet your goddamn ass I did. Plenty of people would still be around if I hadn't put my foot down about shit. They made their choices. Not calling out toxic people is how Nazi bars happen. Exactly. But it has paid off so much. And I would do it all over again. I would do it all over again. Every uncomfortable situation, every call out, every lost viewer, I would do it all again. Because what do we have now? We have us. And this is fucking dope. And our outlying communities are dope. And the values that we have here ripple outside of this community. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. It is always going to be worth it. Every single time. Okay. Everybody please spam pet the mods. Can we please spam pet the mods for our mods? We have a section for mods here. Okay. I think it's all mods and a few of the many reasons why they're so important. First point. Mods are the people who put your values into practice. Right? I mentioned earlier in the presentation, I've been in streams where the mods themselves are the ones that are making me raise my eyebrows. And you know what I did? I fucking left. Right? Because if that streamer trusts problematic people to be in charge of their community, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm out. Right? So mods are the people that you're actually right. Mods are praxis, right? Because they are taking your community's values, your community's ideals, and they're actually applying them in real time, right? Which brings us to our next point. Mods represent your channel, whether they are actively modding or just chatting. Because again, I enter a new stream. I see the way that the mods behave. I automatically apply that to the community. And even if the mod it's not a matter of like, oh, the mod didn't like delete this problematic comment or whatever. I'm literally just looking at how the mods are chatting. And if the mods are behaving in a way that makes me feel weird, you bet your ass I'm gonna feel weird about the rest of the stream. Right? Like, they are literally representing your community, which is why they're so important. One of the many reasons why they're so important. Right? Right. Sea Bunny. People will also judge a stream based on whether or not they like and trust your mods. Because those are the people that you trust. They are an extremely clear representation of what you're about as a streamer. So, mods will be trusted to resolve situations for you when you cannot. What that means is, again, if your mods are not on the level, if your mods are not people that you trust in stressful situations, they are not going to handle it correctly, right? And you're just going to wind up doing it yourself, or you're going to miss it. And so the people that you choose to be mods should align with your goals and your values, and you should trust them. Dude, Ols, when you entered the raid command for me last night for the show, that was so sick. Dude, that was so sick. I didn't even think about that, but you did it. It was perfect. Dude, it was so good. Thank you for that, by the way. And that's the thing, like, I trust all of my mods to handle any situation that's thrown. And I'm very deliberate about the people that I choose to be my mods. A, because I don't want to put that responsibility on people unnecessarily by just giving out swords without, you know, asking. I've asked everybody if they want to be a mod, which I think is important to do too. Maybe a separate story, but I think that it's important to ask people if they want to be mod. And then I also think that it's important to be very, very particular about your mods because of all these things. And the last point is that mods have power. Mods have power. That goes without saying. It's the whole point, right? But you don't want somebody that you don't trust to have power on your stream. Whether it's social power, right? Because, like, depending on the growth of your channel, mods can have, like, pull in the community. They are a figure that people will see and think about. And then they also just have the regular ability to control certain situations, you know? I ended this slide with, most importantly, mods are people who care enough about you and your channel to lend their time and talents to you for free. You should care about them too, a lot. And that is something that I think that is something that you should never, ever, 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 ever forget. And you should always hold in your mind whenever you're talking to your mods, whenever you're asking anything of your mods, is that these are people that care. And you should care a lot. Okay, this is me being super lame. This is stop, collaborate, and listen. Working with other streamers. There are hundreds of thousands of content creators on Twitch.com, and we only have so much time in the day. How can we build solid relationships with other content creators, and why does it matter? This is where I started to run out of time a little bit. So, easy ways that we can network with other content creators. You can raid them. You can hang out in their streams. You can hang out in their discords. You can follow and interact with them on social media. You can search and find them in the discovery section on Twitch. And even though the discovery section on Twitch is not like amazing, it is getting better. And you can find streamers of similar size in the discovery section, and like it says, do any of the above, right? And you can plan for co-streams and guest spots. The thing that I will say about collaborating right here on this slide is that you should only do these things from a genuine place. If you do these things because you want to get something out of them, it's not going to work for you. You should only be like hanging out in people's streams that you enjoy hanging out in. You should only be hanging out in people's discords that you enjoy hanging out in. You should only be interacting with people on social media that you enjoy hanging out with. You should be looking for people that you actually resonate with. TC. Like, I know that it seems obvious. God damn it. I know that it seems obvious to say that, but like, if you are approaching this inherently social situation like it's an equation, or like it's something that you can put in effort and just automatically get something back, it will fail. You will fail. The only reason that I feel like I've been able to collaborate with the people that I've been able to collaborate with has been because I actually want to do it. And I actually want to be there. Like, if I'm hanging out in your stream, it's because I want to be there. I'm not doing you a favor. I'm not trying to be seen. I'm not like trying to get something out of it. If I'm at your stream, it's because that's where I want to be, and that's what I want to be doing. And that is how I feel like you should be treating that too. Because people will know when you're being inauthentic. That's all it is. And you shouldn't be living that way anyway. You know? How do you feel about no give and take? So you enjoy hanging in their stream, but they don't return to yours? That's a toughie. And that can be a feel bad. That can feel bad. But my advice is, if you want to collaborate with them, move on. Like, for me, and this is a little bit tangential to the point, but for me, like, if I have somebody that I want to get to know better, like on Twitch, like if somebody that I think our channels and our communities would vibe well together, I'll raid them. And their response dictates my response, right? Like, there are plenty of streamers that I've raided with, like, 60 people, 50 people, doubling their viewership, and they like don't drop me a follow, they don't like check out my channel. Maybe I do it twice, they still don't follow, they still don't check out my channel. That's fine. It's not like, I'm not upset about it. what I do is I just move on, because the people that you want to collaborate with are people that are go-getters, people that are interested, people that make the time. Like, and not everybody, if somebody doesn't express interest in your channel, it's not a reflection on you necessarily. It can also be where they're at. Maybe they're at capacity for collaborating. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe it's just not something that they do. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it can be a feel bad to want to collaborate with somebody and have it not work out. But ultimately, there are tons of people that do. There are too many good content creators on Twitch to get hung up on one connection not working out. See, and that's another important aspect of collaborating and not being transactional, is you don't want to be acting in a way that you're trying to get something out of people. Do what you want to do, involve people in ways that you want to be involved, but you can't bank on behaving in a way based on expectations. You have to be at peace with the decisions that you're making. Next slide is making real connections. You only get what you give. First point is, healthy relationships are based in reciprocity and equity. Right? Yeah, shouts to New Radicals. Fucking love that song, man. All right. Yeah, so healthy relationships are based in reciprocity and equity, right? So if you want something to happen with somebody else, and this is kind of outside of streaming advice at this point, but if you want something to happen with somebody else, like, you have to be willing to show up for that person too, right? Like, the best collaborations and the best connections come from when both people are actually invested in it. Smart people can smell bullshit, which is, if you're being deliberately transactional, people will be able to tell, and you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell when you're being transactional. I think that it's normal and understandable to worry about being transactional, but that level of empathy usually signals that you're not. You know, being aware of that behavior is usually erring on the side of you are anxious and unsure, not that you are being a manipulator, you know? Third point, you have to be willing to make the first move. Simple as that. Like, these things are not going to happen unless you want to make them happen. And sometimes people will reach out to you, but sometimes if you really want to make a connection, like, it just has to be you, right? I usually just worry about being a burden for other people, so I try to be there more for people without asking much from them. It's a hard thing to unlearn. Don't want to be a burden on other people, huh? How interesting and topical. Yeah, oh, weird. Can we get an O/ for anybody that worries about being a burden on the people around them? If you worry about being a burden on the people around you, can you drop an O/, please? Look at that. All right, y'all. Let me say something real quick that's outside of the realm of streaming. Okay? In the world that we want to cultivate, people need to be responsible for themselves, and people have a responsibility to communicate their own boundaries with you as well. You are not a burden. You are not a burden. You are not a burden. And if people are overwhelmed with you, they need to be able to tell you. Your relationship, what you should be building, what you should be trying to build, is a relationship with a person that can tell you when they're at capacity, right? The responsibility is not on you to be less. The responsibility is on the people around us to actually communicate what they're capable of, right? That's it. Like, you're not a burden. And if you are putting too much onto the people around you, in a perfect world, they can tell you. And that's not always going to be the case. There are going to be people that cross their own boundaries. There are going to be people that overburden themselves. There are going to be people that tell you that they have time for you when they don't. But that's not on you. And your goal should not be to be less. Your goal should be to be you. And if people can't fucking hang, then they can't fucking hang. It's not your problem. Like, look at all the people that said that they worry about being a burden. It was everybody in this chat. Like, we're all afraid to be what? Too much? How? Like, is that the world that we want to live in? It's not the world I want to live in. I don't expect everybody that I approach with my problems to have time for me. But I expect the people that don't have time for me to tell me that they don't have time. And I'm trying to practice it too. It's a practice. You're not just going to get it. It's not just going to happen immediately. You have to practice the things that you want from other people as well. And that means drawing boundaries. When people ask you, hey, do you want to collab? If you don't have time, you say no. Because you care about them and you care about you. Like Wes says, please assert your boundaries. Yes. Again, if you want to create this world, if you want other people to behave this way, you have to behave this way. You have to tell people when you're at capacity. You have to tell people when you don't have time to talk. You have to tell people what you can and cannot give, and you have to be realistic about it. And you know what's going to happen when you do that with people that you love? They will do it back. They will. It will happen. And again, if this is the world that you want, it has to start with you. It's the easiest way. And if you expect things from people, look, the perfect transition. Just threw my glasses behind me. All right, listen to this. The next point. You cannot expect from others what you yourself are not willing to give. You cannot expect from others what you yourself are not willing to give. If you set the precedent for the behavior that you want to see, it will open a lot of other doors for you too. If you can set the bar in an exchange with somebody new, if you can set the bar for communication, then it's really easy to know, A, if they can step, if they're ready to meet you where you are, and B, I don't know, I had a B and now it's gone. Now I'm just thinking about B's. God. Train of thought gone. Gonna read the last point. Be realistic with what you're able to do and watch for people to do the same for themselves. I think that's important as well. Yeah, editing is gonna be a nightmare soup. So there's a duality to this point, right? Okay, thank you so much, Costa. Thanks for hanging out. Have fun watching Spirited Away. So, the first part, be realistic with what you're able to do. Straightforward, right? We practice saying no. We practice drawing boundaries. We practice being honest about where we're at. And then, once we're comfortable in that practice of being more self-attuned, you can watch for other people and watch the way that the people around you conduct themselves when it comes to opportunities to collaborate, when it comes to commissions, the way that they handle opportunity. Because that will also give you an idea of, is this a person that I should work with? Right? Do you want to work with somebody that says yes to literally everything and then just kind of half-asses everything that they do? Do you want to work with somebody that is not dependable? Do you want to work with people that are constantly just like, yo, we should do something, and then something never happens? No, you don't want to work with those people. And you owe it to yourself to avoid those kinds of situations. Have them as friends, you know, like, but don't hang your hat on working with people that don't make what you're trying to do feel good and feel real. Last part of the slide. I swear we're making progress. Just like viewers, being consistent in your values may cause you to lose out on potential collaborating opportunities, but the opportunities that you will find will pay off again 1,000 times harder. Collaborate with people that make you feel good. Collaborate with people that make it feel real. Don't fuck around with anything less. You might lose out on an opportunity, but chances are that opportunity probably wasn't great anyway. Next up, we have collaborating with care. And we have a quote from the esteemed philosopher Ryan Jaunzemis. Ryan Jaunzemis says, "You become the average or a mixture of the top 5 people to whom you admire most or spend the most time with." Stay smooching, my homies. Nope, he said it. He said that. Yep, nope, that's his. That's his, that he said that. And that said, this quote from Ryan Jaunzemis, specifically from Ryan Jaunzemis, the person that said this quote originally, you are the average of the top 5 people that you admire or you hang out with, right? So what does that mean for you in your content creation? It means that the people that you fuck with are a reflection of you and your community. So we're in the tail bit of the presentation. The light is at the end of the tunnel. And I am going to actually set a boundary with myself now. I am not going to answer a question until the end. I'm just going to go through the presentation, and we can do questions at the end if we still have them. All right. So, what comes next? We have identified our values. We have a group of people who understand us. We have people we're excited to work with. What comes next? No, you don't have to be silent. I'm just not going to answer questions. So first things first, you just keep doing it, right? When you've identified your values, when you have some people that understand, you have people that you're thinking about collaborating with, you keep doing the thing. So all of these things that we've talked about, these are all a practice, right? Setting your boundaries, communicating, being outspoken about your values, cultivating your community. All of these things are a practice. So what you should do is you should start practicing. Be consistent with your streaming. Start developing your relationships with your community and keep building. right? In order to build, you have to be consistent. If you want a community that keeps showing up, you have to let them know when to show up. So be consistent. Start doing your shit as soon as you can, and just keep doing it. Next slide. Okay, but like, what can I actually do? Make yourself a Discord server for your community to hang out in. Simple one. But that's a whole different stream, or a whole different digging into that stuff, not what this one's here for. Set yourself a consistent stream schedule that feels realistic to you. And then this is my personal opinion, but 1 or 2 guaranteed streams a week will go further than 6 or 7 streams a week if nobody knows when you'll be on, right? So, I am very much of the belief that if your audience knows when you'll be on, they'll show up. But if your audience doesn't know when you're going to be on, you're asking a lot from your audience, you're asking a lot from yourself, and you're making it very hard for people to come back, right? Like, and you're also not really respecting your audience's time, right? Like, expecting an audience to just appear whenever is asking a lot, given everything that we've covered in the rest of the presentation, right? Like, there are thousands of streamers. Everyone here is following 100+ streamers at least, you know? Give your audience the times that you're going to be available if you want to grow, you know? If you don't want to grow and you just want to stream and just stream, like, that's totally cool. If you want to cultivate a community, consistency is key. Something that you can do is choose a social media platform to be active on, which, you know, that helps because it just lets people know when you're live. It gives people a little bit of an insight into who you are and what you're about. Provides another way to connect. Make a list of people that you want to collaborate with, either now or in the future. So something that I have right now is I have a list of people that I'm interested in trying to connect with. And there are different ways that happens. Like, maybe it's a raid, maybe it's just hanging out in their stream more often, maybe it's interacting on social media. But so something that I would recommend, if you're a streamer, you know, looking to stream more and build community, is identify people that you're interested in doing something with. And just keep a list, because you don't have to do it right away. It can be something that you work towards, right? And then piggybacking off of that is create opportunities for other people to work with you, right? Again, don't expect things of other people that you're not willing to do yourself, right? We're tying back into all of it. So if you want to collab, make an opportunity to collab. Invite somebody to do something, right? Express interest in what they're doing. Create those opportunities. It will help practicing networking, and also letting other people know that you're good to network with. I have a few, so these are just some random thoughts that I have that I didn't really have like a section for or whatever, but these are some random thoughts. So one of them that I just notice is don't be spammy, right? So when I say don't be spammy, there are discords that I belong to in which like they have like a self promo channel. We have a self promo channel in our Discord, but there are people in these self promo channels where like if you scroll through the self promo channel, it's all like the same 2 or 3 people go every time that they go live. Every time that they go live, they're posting in a bunch of other people's community Discords. They're posting in like a bunch of other people's stuff. And you know what that does? Nothing. It doesn't do anything, right? Because if you're constantly trying to just pull energy from other sources without giving that energy back, you're burning goodwill, right? And you're burning people's ability to give a shit. Because if I see that you're just posting in like someone's Discord every single time that you're going live, what's going on, Harmless Game Dev? If I see that you're posting in, you know, community Discords and stuff every single time that you're going live, I don't really feel like I'm ever going to miss out on a stream, or that I should go to that stream, you know? Like, and yeah, like Sammy says, it makes you want to check out your content it makes me want to check out your content less. Just because, like, people that are, how do I say this? People that are on a good path don't feel the need to do that. They just don't, right? Like, you want, here's a better way to frame it. Yes. And what Shai is saying too, like, if the person that's sharing their content in your Discord never interacts with your shit otherwise, that's an automatic, like, I don't give a shit, you know? Like, that to me is bad energy. Again, when you're only trying to take from other people and you're not giving anything back, no one gives a fuck, and no one should give a fuck, right? But the idea that this ties into for me is the idea that, like, what? Brotatoon? Hello? Oh, Brotato! Oh my god. I misread your username because of the notification and because I don't have any excuses. Brotato, how are you doing? Hello. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done with the don't be spammy. We get it, right? My last little cap on the don't be spammy is, you want to save your kind of social, like, God, I don't want to use the word capital. You want to save your, like, social pull with other people for when you actually need it or want it, for special events, right? So today I posted in Kami's self-promotion chat. Thank you, Sammy, for the recommendation. But I posted in Kami's self-promo chat for the first time because I actually have something to say today. But, like, am I gonna go into Kami's chat and be like, hey guys, I'm live. Hey guys, I'm live. Hey guys, I'm live. If I was doing that, then how does anybody know to care about something that I actually want them to go see? Does that make sense? Like, save your outreach for opportunities that you really want people to see, you know? Be patient with yourself and with others. I'm not going to get, like, super high level about this. But just everything that we've discussed. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow other people to make mistakes. Be patient. This growth is not going to happen soon. It might happen faster than you think, but it's going to take time. All of this shit takes time. So be patient with yourself and be patient with other people in the process. So don't be pressured into collaboration is the next. So again, tying back, set those boundaries, right? Tell people no. If you can't do it, tell people no. Only say yes to the shit that you want to do, because then you're going to do a good job of it. It's going to reflect better on you. It's going to go further, and you're not going to hate it at the end, right? I've said yes to things that I was like, sure, it'd be a nice gesture if I could do this for them. And then when it comes time for me to sit down and actually do it, I'm already mad about it because I don't really want to do it. You know, like, save that energy, dude. We only have so much time. We only have so much energy. Don't agree to shit that you don't want to do. Just don't. Tell people why. It's fine. Like, it is totally okay. And you might enjoy it better. I mean, the goal is that you want to enjoy it. Otherwise, why are you doing it? So keep that in mind. Get people excited about the right things. Again, tying back into don't be spammy. Just let people know when to show up and what to show up for, and they'll show up, right? But if people don't know what is worth showing up for, they're not going to show up, or they'll show up at their leisure. Save the special stuff for special times, right? Don't burn people out on just your go live notifications. Don't burn people out on every single thing that you're up to, you know? Like, try and make the things that you're doing feel special, because your community is special. And if you want them to be there, you can build a precedent that they should show up, you know? If you stream it, they will come, asterisk. And then the last one is be consistent, right? So if you say that you're streaming at a certain time, try your best to be there. Don't like I'm a staunch advocate of taking time for yourself when you want to take time for yourself. I am not saying to adhere to a schedule purely out of principle. Don't just like do something like a stream if you're like sick, or if you're really not feeling up to it, or if something came up. Like, don't be unhealthy, but to the best of your ability, be consistent. And that will be so much easier for you to do if you set realistic expectations for yourself in the beginning, right? That's why I was saying earlier that 1 or 2 streams a week, guaranteed at the same time, is better than 7 days a week when people don't know when to come find you, right? I would rather know that you're streaming at 7 p.m. on a Sunday once a week. I would rather know that that is happening than just try and tune in whenever, you know? If your issue is with time, that's okay. If your issue is with time, that's okay. If you're trying to be consistent. What is worse is if you're just calling it off constantly, right? And again, do what you need to do. First and foremost, Twitch streaming is not more important than taking care of yourself, taking care of your loved ones, and getting shit done that you need to get done. Twitch streaming is not more important than that. But set a time and a schedule that you feel like you can hit. Don't fuck with it unless you can at least try and do something like that. And all of this advice is specifically for if you're trying to grow. If you're not trying to grow, which is totally valid, like if you're just trying to stream because you have fun streaming and fuck it, that is 1,000% valid. And you don't need to listen to my advice on this. Like, you don't need to be growth oriented if you're not trying to grow. But consistency for Twitch is extremely key, you know? I attached this this very relevant quote from Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, which we just watched for community night not that long ago. It is Sonic the Hedgehog saying, "I'm wet, I'm cold, there's a fish on my head, and clearly I'm not going to be able to do this on my own." And I say that because on Twitch, we are not an island, right? We are a community, and we literally cannot do this on our own. I'm like for sure memeing with the Sonic quote, but the idea that like we're gonna build a community, that we're gonna be a successful streamer by staying in our fucking lane, it's not gonna happen. We are literally dependent on other people to make this happen. So all of the steps that you take to cultivate your community, to work with other people, they're all going to pay dividends. And if you try and stay in your lane about it, it's not going to work. My last slide is be you at all costs. That's it. If you follow this advice, what this advice is geared in order to be able to, what am I trying to say? Ultimately, the goal for this presentation was to try and help you be more in touch with who you are, what you want, and the kind of people that you want to work with. Right? So if you are simply you, and you're consistent in your values, and you're consistent with the people that lift you up and make you feel empowered, you will succeed. You will. And that's it. I believe that everybody that wants to grow on this platform and in their lives, I believe that you have the ability to do that, but you can't do it alone. And the place to start is right here. Start with you, and everything else will come. That's it.